think it's very unlikely. I'm not saying it's impossible, and things can change over months. And football politics can be a dirty business for sure, and it's. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I think if there was an election today, he would lose fairly significantly. But it's who knows things get offered, because the bargaining power of that's what FIFA's used for generations, even before Infantino's time. It's like handing out events, handing out committee positions.
Shall we catch up with the latest of what is going on around Gianni Infantino, the head of FIFA? He's under a great deal of pressure. An awful lot of FIFA members want him out of that job. So how's it going? Martyn Ziegler, chief sports reporter at the Times. Hi to you, Martyn.
Afternoon, John.
What is the latest? Good to have you, Martyn. What's the latest state of play in the pursuit of Gianni?
Yeah, he's been out to the Dominican Republic at the weekend, trying to sort of boost some of his support, which is definitely wavering. But I think there's been a couple of quite significant things in the last 24 hours. This afternoon, a group of former and current international players, including Lucy Bronze, the England women's international, Michael Silvestri, used to play for Arsenal, Manchester United. He's an official member of the FIFA Players' Voice panel. Emmanuel Petit, also former Arsenal and Chelsea midfielder, and other players as well. They've shared this joint statement, very hard-hitting, very critical of the current FIFA leadership, saying enough is enough. It's time for a new era. Power has affected is being used for personal interests instead of for the good of the game. So I think this kind of ratchets up the pressure on Infantino significantly.
I mean, the pressure is looking, you'd have thought, pretty much irresistible. But does anyone, as far as you're aware, Martyn, does anyone see any sign that Infantino's resolve is weakening? Has he got a skin like three rhinoceroses? I mean, what's your take on it?
I think he is very thick-skinned. I think he has got some powerful people in his corner, including the Qatari F.A. Obviously, the Qatar hosted the World Cup in 2022, and they are sort of fairly big players in the Gulf, but they're not the biggest, but they're up there. And he's got a sort of some core support in South America and Africa. So I think he thinks it's too soon to throw in the towel yet. There's an election coming in March. You have to declare your candidacy by November the 18th. So I think he will only give up if he thinks he's got no chance of winning, despite the fact that there's this incredible sort of torrent of criticism from many parts of the game, from fans, and now from, as I said, from current and former players. And if he, part of me thinks if he's determined to go on, it's going to be very uncomfortable in lots of situations that he faces in the next few months.
Yeah, I mean, from where we are now, I know none of us here are clairvoyant, but from where we are now, can you see any plausible route along which Gianni Infantino keeps his job?
I think it's very unlikely. I'm not saying it's impossible. And things can change over months, and football politics can be a dirty business for sure. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I think if there was an election today, he would lose fairly significantly. But it's who knows things get offered, because the bargaining power of that's what FIFA's used for generations, even before Infantino's time. It's like handing out events, handing out committee positions, handing out competitions, and even just handing out development money. All these sorts of things are used to bolster power.
Right. So all sorts of possible cards the Infantino may have still to play. Some of them are out in the open, some of them rather under the counter.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think he knows that he's in a very difficult situation, and what also must be uncomfortable is that lots of people actually within FIFA themselves and this is reflected in the players' statement. Actually, lots of people in FIFA themselves are very uncomfortable with the situation, but I mean they've all got mortgages, they've got families to support. It's not easy for them just to walk away from a job, I guess. But there's lots of unhappiness within the organisation itself, and that's also something that he needs to sort of come to terms with.
And meanwhile, Martin, the time is approaching, isn't it, where the UEFA threat of a boycott of FIFA events could take effect?
Yeah, we've got the FIFA Under-20 women's tournament in Poland, which starts early next month. The teams are due to fly out on Monday. Now, so my understanding is UEFA will hold a meeting later this week, probably on Thursday afternoon, of the executive committee plus the presidents of most of its 55 member associations to decide what to do. And I think there's some feeling. I mean, that they had the conditions about the boycott was that they would scrap the World Cup sell-off plan, which has obviously happened, and then provide assurances that there would be no attempts to do a similar sell-off to private investors in the future. And they said until now that second assurance hasn't been given. So I suppose we wait to see if FIFA give that assurance or if UEFA play hardball. And I think there's certainly lots of people who think it's a bit unfair on the under-20 women's players to carry the can for what's happening at a global political level. But as it stands, that boycott is in place.
All right, Martin, really good to talk to you. Martyn Ziegler there, the chief sports reporter at The Times.